he asked about being present. And he said, you know, he's really trying and working on being present, and it's very difficult for him. He said it's of course easier here when everybody's on the same path and everybody's doing the same work. But what recommendations for being present in general, and particularly when he goes back into the real world, we say? There's two things that keep us from being present, and both of them are really important to look at. One is just general habit, which I'll come back to afterwards. The first is actually things that we are avoiding. We can't be present when the minute we become quiet and go inward, emotions that we don't want to face are there. So we've got anger, we've got pain, we've got frustration, we've got an unfulfilled expectation, we've got unrequited love, we've got betrayal, we've got grudges that we're holding on to. We've got so many emotions that if we're not able to actually look at ourselves, being present becomes very, very difficult. It's like being locked in a very, very small, dark room with someone that you're trying to avoid. It's not a fun situation. If you spend your life trying to avoid someone and then suddenly you find yourself locked in a closet with them, you don't want to be there. And so you try to do whatever you possibly can do to get out of that closet. And for many of us, that's what happens. Our own inner emotions and inner psyche are something that we are trying to avoid. I don't want to admit I'm angry. I don't want to admit I've got this unfulfilled expectation. I don't want to admit that this is going on with my ego. I don't want to look at this pain that I've been holding on to. I don't want to admit that I've got jealousy or aggression or any of these things. And so the easiest way to avoid that is to keep myself out of that closet. To stay really busy, either busy with my hands or just busy with my mind. Because the mind is, you know, a great ally in escaping the present moment. So even if you're stuck in a seat on an airplane or you're sitting in your bed, the mind will go. You don't need the body to move quickly. So the first piece is to say, is there something specific that I'm running from? When I sit and I close my eyes, or when I try to stay present, are the thoughts and the feelings that come up always kind of on the same level? Do they always center around a particular topic? And if so, then that's something inside of ourselves we have to look at. Because you're not going to be able to stay in that closet alone until you deal with that emotion. So that's the first aspect. The second piece is, if there's nothing, there's no emotion that's coming up, it's not the same thing, you've done your psychological work, you've looked at yourself, you've addressed the past, and it's just general busyness, that monkey mind, as they say. That's where our spiritual practices, like mantra, like meditation, like even open-eyed meditation. Being present is really nothing more than just an open-eyed meditation. That's where all of that comes in. What's important, though, is that we not get angry at ourselves. I'll tell you a funny example, true story. So we host this International Yoga Festival every year that just passed in March. And during the yoga festival, I teach a meditation class. And they set up these tents that we have, because we have 3 halls, but during the yoga festival we have 5 venues. So they put up these big tents outside. And I was teaching meditation in the tent. And in India, there's monkeys everywhere. And particularly for some reason that I don't understand, they come out much more in the late afternoon in our gardens. Somehow mornings are okay, no problem. Late afternoons, monkeys everywhere. So this meditation class was a late afternoon class. And as I was just beginning to teach the meditation, you could hear the monkeys on the roof of the tent. And because the tents are thin, you can actually see the monkeys. And then they would manage to cut through it, and you'd see a little hand come in. And of course, monkeys are much more interesting, particularly for people who have come in from abroad, than close your eyes and meditate. So people are, looking at the monkey, then they're back in meditation, then they're looking, and it's mildly distracting, but not a disaster. After this goes on for about 5 minutes, one of the guards who we had put to keep the monkeys away comes with this huge stick and starts banging the stick on the edge of the metal poles that are holding the tent up. Bam, 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 to try to get the monkeys to go away. And of course, then the monkeys run even faster, and then the guard goes to the other pole, and bam, 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 bam. Okay. And at that point, there was no point in trying to teach meditation, because the whole thing had become a complete fiasco. But I share this story for a very specific reason, and I actually ended up turning that into the lesson of the class. When the mind wanders, it's like these monkeys, mildly distracting. But you're able to bring it back. It does something new. Now it's got its hand in there. You notice it for a minute. Then you're tired of the monkey's hand. You come back to the meditation. You come back to the present moment. But the minute that we turn our minds into those guards with their sticks to try to beat the monkeys out of our mind, then it becomes absolutely impossible to meditate. And so the response to those monkeys in the form of thoughts, in the form of distractions in our mind, is not to do what that guard does, not to turn around and try to yell at them and fight them off and get away from here and push them away, yell at ourselves, I'll never be able to meditate. Because that then renders the entire exercise absolutely useless. As the mind wanders, it's gone with this thought like it went with that monkey. Okay. And you just bring it back. Nothing is that interesting for that long unless we latch ourselves onto it. If you imagine that you're staring at a sky, a blue sky, on a windy day, clouds will blow across that sky. But you have two choices. Either you latch your attention onto each cloud and you follow it as it comes from this part of the sky to that part. And then as it goes out, you latch onto another cloud and you follow that. And you spend all your attention latched onto these floating clouds. Or you focus your attention on the blue sky. And when your attention is on the blue sky, then yeah, sure, the cloud will blow across, but it blows across very, very quickly. And then you're back with the blue sky. The problem only becomes when you latch on that attention to the cloud. So as you practice being present, and it's much easier, as you said, to practice it here. So make sure that your practice here is very deep and very intense and very sincere, so that it's something that's got a stronger foundation by the time you go back. And allow that focus to be on the blue sky, on the present moment, but not on the present moment in terms of oh, there's an ant crawling and now it's itching my knee, and oh, now I notice that it's become 7:20 and I wonder what's for dinner. I'm going to have dinner in a few minutes. That's all theoretically present moment. But it's not what we mean when we say be present. Because that moment is constantly changing. It was 7:20 then, now it's 7:21. Next moment it's going to be 7:22. So that present moment is constantly changing. When we say be present, it's present with you on the inside, present with your breath. Present with that which is not dependent upon the ant that's crawling on the ground and now itching your knee, that's constantly changing. It's a way of grounding yourself in that exact breath, in that exact moment. Because amazingly, every single problem that you have is either something that happened in the past, up until a minute ago, or something that's going to happen in the future, 30 years from now or 30 seconds from now. But right here in this moment, with this breath right now, everything's actually okay. And so all of the stress, all of the pain, all of the worry is all about that which came before, how it should have been different, or that which is coming next, what we dread, what we anticipate, what we're excited about, what we want. And we're never actually here. And so being present is allowing yourself to recognize in the moment, in the breath, whether it's 7:20 p.m. or 5 a.m., whether you're sitting here or sitting in Manhattan or sitting in Paris or anywhere, that in this breath, everything is okay. And in this breath, you are connected to this universe from which you're breathing and into which you're breathing. In this moment, there's no boundaries or borders between us. Those come when I start to say, well, you're from that place and you look like this and you speak that language and you showed up at this time. If we're just here in this breath, we're all connected. And that's what real presence gives us.